All right. What's going on, my freaks and geeks? This is the Square Roundtable podcast. I want to thank all of our viewers and listeners for joining us this week and every week, guys. We really appreciate your listens and your views. Thank you for being on this journey with us, guys. And tonight we have another amazing episode. I would love everybody to give it up for an amazing comic book creator and artist, Mr. Jacob Edgar.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Oh man, thank you so much for coming out. We're really big fans of your work, man. I really, we'll get into it a little bit later, but I'm really curious to see how you curated your style, because I don't know, man. I just love your art. It kind of, like I told you before the podcast came on, Dmitri, is one day I was just scrolling through because we have a little group chat. And one day I was scrolling down and I saw this picture. It was the alter ego comic. And I'm like, what is that? And I just fell down a little rabbit hole. And the way I am with things, as soon as I like something, I'm just like, I got to see who created this. And I reached out and here we are. So thank you so much. Like, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm glad I'm showing up on Discover pages. I'm glad people are finding it. That's good.
Yeah, it's definitely getting out there. It's really popular, man. So we definitely can't wait to see, and we'll jump into kind of the idea, because the artwork definitely caught my eye, but when I saw what was going on with the comic and I understood the concept, that part of it really drew me in. Yeah, so I definitely can't wait to talk about that. But first and foremost, I just wanted to know, I ask all my guests before we get sorry, just a little mental health check. How has everything been going, man? There's been some crazy stuff going on, and pandemic and all the other craziness. So how have you been holding up, man?
I'm good. I'm very busy. So we've got the Kickstarter that's going on, Alter Ego. That was the book that you're talking about. I'm also working on almost halfway through drawing a book for Dark Horse that Brian Michael Bendis is writing. So pretty slammed on those.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you guys didn't know about that one?
Well, no. I didn't know.
No,
But okay, all right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then on top of all that, I have 6-month-old triplets. So
wow.
I'm just, yeah.
Oh.
So it's a
you're
crazy
super
time
dad
in
over
the,
there, man. That's
Wow.
yeah, it's a crazy
Awesome.
time in the Edgar house right now.
Yeah,
Hey, man,
Congrats,
congratulations. That's all.
Thank
That's
you.
all good stuff, man. That is amazing. That is amazing.
yeah.
So we're glad to hear it. We're definitely glad to hear about all the positivity, man. Like we love that energy, and like I said, you definitely got a lot of blessings going on, man. So in a time like this where it's a lot of negativity, it feels good to hear a lot of positive stuff that's going on with you. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we don't go anywhere. We hang out with the babies, shake rattles, and read books. And
I understand. Hey, I understand. Hopefully you're not getting the hand cramps, man, because I don't know how you do what you do. Like that is insane.
It's a lot. I try and keep them stretched out. It's a big thing.
Understood. Oh yeah, understandable. Just a little bit about your background. I would like to know, because you have obviously an affinity for the visual arts. So I wanted to know, like, where are you from and what made you pursue a career in art and in comic books professionally? Where does that come from?
Yeah, I'm from Georgia, grew up in Georgia, and I had comic books in my life ever since I can remember. My dad was really into Batman 66, and then he got caught up in the Batman 89 Batmania. So ever since I can remember, we had comics in the house, because that was back then where you could just buy them off the rack in a grocery store. So he had started getting them again, and like we'd read them to me and my brother for bedtime stories. We'd read us Batman comics. And then I never really got away from comics, but they kind of got away from me as they went out of grocery stores and I was a kid and didn't know about specialty shops. So around 11 or 12, I saw a Batman comic. It was Batman 597, which is a Ed Brubaker, Scott McDaniel issue. And the cover grabbed me and I bought it. And then my dad said, well, if you like this so much, you can subscribe to it. There was like a little blurb in there about subscribing to DC. So I started subscribing to Batman. And it wasn't long after that Batman Hush started coming out, the Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee series. And once I saw it was Jim Lee's art that made me feel, because I'd always liked to draw. And once I saw Jim Lee's art, that was like my awakening moment. Oh, I want to do this. Like this, that was when I took note of who a creator was on a comic, that there's a person that does this, and his art just blew me away. And I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to draw like Jim Lee, and I want to make comic books when I grow up. And obviously I don't draw very much like Jim Lee, as it turns out. My style went away from there, but that's what got me into really hardcore into comics, and then wanting to do it in my career.
Awesome.
Oh, awesome. No, that's really cool. I was so glad, because Jim Lee, that's my guy, man.
Yeah.
And he definitely has his, and that's great that you were saying that even though you gravitated towards his style, you veered away from that when trying to find yourself creatively.
Mhm.
And I was wondering, were there any other styles that led into how you do what you do? Because with your work, it just, I don't know, it really reminds me of like early like DC. You have very soft lines, and the way you draw like your characters, like Superman, for instance, it seems like very old school. Like, is
Yeah.
that something you do on purpose?
Yeah, definitely. I think the next big landmark stylistically was I picked up Batman Year One at a local library, and David Mazzucchelli. Seeing that was like a big influence on me, because it was in a lot of ways the total opposite of Jim Lee. Like Jim Lee does all this rendering and hatching, all this detail into his stuff, and then Mazzucchelli is in that Alex Toth mode of everything is really simplified. He'll do like thick lines, but his figures are pretty simple. And I had never, to that point, really seen comic book art that was like that. And the more that I started drawing myself, I leaned more that direction, and also back to Bruce Timm, because I loved Batman the Animated Series when I was a kid. So Bruce Timm, Darwin Cook, and then as I got deeper and deeper, guys like Jack Kirby, or when it comes to Superman, my main influence might actually be the old Max Fleischer cartoon. I had a VHS tape of those that I would watch all the time as a kid. When I think of Superman and like the way that he moves or should move, that's mostly what I think of, is those Fleischer cartoons. Definitely towards an older aesthetic.
Because I could automatically see that. I was like, this is so cool, because it automatically put me in the mind of some of those old like Shazam comics, and it's So I definitely love that kind of stuff, because for me personally, one of my favorites is just like, what was that comic? Jesus, I can't even remember. I'm blanking on his name right now. Demetrius, help me out. He did the older Superman. What was his name? I can't even remember right
The
now.
older Superman, let me see.
Yeah, like with the gray-haired Superman.
Oh, you're talking about
The king,
the futuristic one with the gray suave and
and even though his is like extremely on the side of realism, I don't know, I just always gravitate to art that doesn't have like, or superheroes that don't have 12 packs, like all the muscles.
Right.
That's always been my thing. So that definitely
I was like Batman, because Batman had the issues where he had those 12-pack pieces.
Oh my gosh, yes, it's like insane. So
Yeah.
definitely, I like the less is more concept for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And especially like when you do the face mask, or like you draw the eye mask. I really like when you make it like super expressive. You got like that, and then it's like
Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like.
Yeah, I love giving Robin really big eyes, like almost Spider-Man kind of eyes.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, like I said, you're a Georgia guy, so of course, you had to go to SCAD, man. SCAD is that place. And I just wanted to know if that really contributed, or how did going to SCAD contribute to your art style? Bled into how you do your comics at all?
Yeah, definitely. Until I went to SCAD, I was basically self-taught. Like I had how to draw books and things like that, but I did one semester of an art class in senior year of high school. So it was cool, challenging and cool to go to SCAD, where amongst my friends and people I knew, I was always the person that could draw. And then you go to SCAD and everybody is that person.
Right.
And you start looking around at these other people that are in your class and see how they draw, and it's, whoa, I am not on that level. But that's good. That inspires you to get better. You can steal stuff from other people. And I soaked up so much as I could from professors and other students. And I don't know if I would be even published yet or have a career if not for going to SCAD. Just everything that it brought me, not just what it taught me, but they teach you how to keep growing after you leave SCAD, which is something that I had to do because I graduated in 2014 and I didn't get published in comics until 2017. So there were a few years in there where I was still grinding away, trying to improve my stuff and get noticed by editors. But yeah, big influence. And I'm still connected with SCAD, with some of the professors. I just did some workshops for them a couple months ago and got to do some portfolio reviews with the students, which was cool to come back and give back in that way.
I know that was an awesome feeling, man. That's always great when you get to go back to your alma mater.
Yeah, virtually, sadly, but yeah.
No, trust me, I definitely understand that. But yeah, man, you're making this easy for me. Every answer, you're transitioning into another question. But so now that you mentioned being published, so what was the process? Because you've been published by like DC, Dark, IDW, like a lot of the big powerhouses in the comic book industry. So I wanted to know, like, from that area of time, going to SCAD, graduating, what was your process for trying to get published by a lot of these comic book companies? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are artists coming up and they're trying to figure out how to do the same thing.
Yeah, I was working on just drawing, doing pages all the time, my own little stories or from scripts that I had gotten, and just putting stuff out online, which is big, especially now. Editors are always looking on Twitter and Instagram and ArtStation, wherever else. So if you are an upcoming artist, just be putting stuff out there. And I started doing the convention a little bit in 2016. I went up to a convention and did some portfolio reviews, got some good feedback and stuff like that. And then, so my first job in 2017 actually came from Nate Cosby, who's my co-creator now on Alter Ego. He's worked for a long time as an editor, and the last several years he's been doing editing at Dynamite. And he'll put out sometimes, I need such and such artist for whatever book, reply with samples. So I had done that a few times on Twitter, just replied to his threads, sending out samples. So just out of the blue one day, he sent me a DM and he said, hey, I've got a job, would you be interested? And so I did a small project for him. It was comic books for a podcast, the Flophouse podcast. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but the guys on that podcast were doing some comics for charity, and I drew one of those. So after I had done that, Nate said that he had a job at Dynamite, which was a Moneypenny spinoff from the James Bond series. Yeah. So that was my first big published gig. Was I drew a Moneypenny one shot at Dynamite, and then it was off from there. Nate's consistently been coming back to me, giving me work at Dynamite. I've worked on Red Sonja. I've drawn and written Red Sonja. I drew a Army of Darkness miniseries, and so I owe a lot of my career to Nate. Really kicked it off and kept it going those first few years, and still going.
That's awesome. Big shout out to Nate. That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. And pretty much in that particular aspect of helping getting your work out there, I'd also know you have your Kickstarter and your Etsy, and have those helped out with your clientele, or expanding your just like expanding the reach of your work at all?
Yeah, I think so. The Etsy has been great. I started putting stuff on Big Cartel when I first started selling prints and sketches, and it wasn't getting a ton of traffic on Big Cartel. So Etsy was just getting bigger and bigger. So I felt like I would get more random traffic if I was over there on a bigger site where more people were. And I really appreciate any time that somebody wants to order a print of mine or a sketch. It just blows me away. Like sometimes I'm shipping them off to like France or Canada or someplace. It's crazy to me. So yeah, thank you to anyone who ever orders off of that stuff. And the Kickstarter is new. I've never done a Kickstarter before, but I think we're about 86% funded right now, and we have 20 something days to go. So we're feeling pretty good. We appreciate the support. But yeah, just Alter Ego on Kickstarter. Check us out.
Plug.
Definitely. That's big plug.
Sure.
And we're gonna be putting all of that stuff in the description too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
no
definitely.
worries. No worries.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, do you have any things you've done, like works that you like that are like some of the ones that you remember, like some of your favorite ones you've done?
Of work that I've done?
Yeah, just or something that you really liked a lot that you've drawn or something like that.
Yeah, so sentimentally, I really love, because I'm a huge Batman fan. That's my favorite character, has been since I was a kid. And so the fact that my first job at DC was a Batman story, I did a short story of Batman and Riddler in the Batman Audio Adventures special.
Oh, okay.
So that was a huge surreal moment for me, that my first job for DC, I actually got to draw Batman and Robin. That was really fun. So if I had to pick a favorite of everything I've done, it would be that one. Yeah.
That's fair. Who doesn't love Batman? Like,
Yeah,
Batman.
like they
He's
just
the
handed you
best.
their bread and butter. Here you go.
Right.
Right.
They're like, hey,
Exactly.
first job, you didn't do nothing for me. They're like, yeah, Batman. Here you go. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
And I got away with some stuff too that wasn't in the script. Like I added Catwoman to one panel. She wasn't in. I forget what else. I worked as much as I could into it that they would let me get away with.
Oh, that's cool. So you got
Yeah.
a little some Easter eggs in there too. That's pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah.
So one thing, speaking
Yeah.
of Batman, one thing that really, I guess, I don't want to speak for you guys, but the thing that really attracts me to comic books and superheroes in general is like the idea of duality. You got Batman, for instance. I don't think so much in his last movie, but usually you have a playboy by day, you have a vicious crime fighter by night. And in Superman also, you have a guy that can literally do whatever he wants to do and can literally take over planet Earth, but he chooses not to, and he puts a lot of restraint on himself. And you kind of got to ask why. But those kind of concepts I always thought were crazy, and they really made me fall in love with comics. And what you've done is like the impossible, and found a way to turn that on its head.
Yeah.
With your comic Alter Ego, and you got these two guys, Black Dog and Whiz Bang.
That's right.
So I'll let you talk about it. You got these two guys, these two superheroes, like night and day, Batman-esque, Superman-esque. So what's going on with this book? I would love for you to tell everybody listening the whole skinny of Alter Ego.
Sure. So it's really Nate Crosby, back to him. It's really his brainchild. He came to me with the idea. I had been putting these Batman and Superman one-page comic strips up on my social media. And so he already had this idea kicking around in his head. And then he saw those strips and inspired him that I could bring it to life with him. So he had the idea of the one guy who's two superheroes. The elevator pitch of it is basically, what if Batman and Superman were actually the same guy? And we just kicked it around, built it from there. So the main character is Ace Adams, who's a stuntman in a fantasy elevated Hollywood that we've created. And so that's his day job, his regular identity. And then during the day, he's this bright, bombastic Superman type hero called Whiz Bang. And then at night, he came up with this other identity where he could tackle the seedier problems in the city. He came up with the Black Dog, who's like this ghoulish sort of Batman type that stalks through the night. And that's been a lot of fun, that like within a few pages, I get to do all kinds of different styles of comics. Like if Ace Adams could be making a Western movie and I'm drawing like 2 pages of Westerns, and then we jump to Whiz Bang fighting a giant robot, and then it goes to like Black Dog in this really noir setting in an alley, and he's like fighting thugs with baseball bats, which is, as an artist, a lot of fun that I get to jump around like that.
No, I bet.
No, that's
That's
awesome.
such a wild
Mhm.
concept. Like
Like the
I
concept
literally
itself is so great, and I want the issue. I want to be able to read exactly all that right now because I'm like, it's getting a fresh fresh take on some stuff that we've already been used to, and it's something that is new from the genre. So like, it's something that is gonna obviously make a lot of people gravitate towards it because it's fresh, it's new, and it's interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we definitely want it to feel classic and like it's really inspired by like Batman the Animated Series or like a Pixar like The Incredibles. It's all ages in a way, like the way that comics used to be, where anybody should be able to pick it up, whether you're a kid or an adult, and get something out of it. That's what we hope that it comes out as. And I think I'm a little biased, but I think it's a ton of fun. Like when Nate sends me this, I wish I could show you more of it. We've shown a lot, I think, already in the Kickstarter, but we have a lot more surprises coming. There's more superheroes that are going to show up, which is fun. I get to design this whole new universe of superheroes, and I'm really excited to get it to people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
awesome.
I'm
sure.
excited to read.
Yeah.
seriously.
And I don't know if you can tell us, but does Black Dog use like does he use like different powers? Because I saw in like one drawing where he was like getting on a motorcycle.
Yeah, we're playing around with some different things. We talked about Black Dog maybe having a car. That felt too Batman-y. So I think we
Mhm.
settled on maybe a motorcycle. And we've talked about some other things that he'll do. His Black Dog is very much so Ace. In addition to being a stuntman, he wishes to be an actor. So Black Dog is even more elevated performance for him, is how he thinks of it. So he's really putting on a voice and like putting on a show when he's Black Dog. He's really trying to be this like ghost and terrifying creature of the night, where Whiz Bang is just easygoing and fun and natural for him. And then Black Dog is like this whole other thing. So I think there will be a lot of differences that you'll see between the two of them.
Oh, okay. I like that. Okay, so Wiz is more of his like regular personality.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get. I was getting at too. Is like Black Dog
Yeah,
is
a little
like
bit.
the actual like him acting or him being something he's not
Mm.
usually not, but his alter ego is like just him naturally. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome, man. Now we're definitely not gonna put you in a corner and make you tell the whole story. We're not gonna do that too, but
Yeah.
it's awesome, man. Like we like I said, that the drawings, like the concept, it was something that I just felt was so fresh and it just caught my attention immediately. So
Agreed.
you already got somebody here. We
You
can't wait
got you
to
got us all. You got all of us here. We're
Oh, that's
right.
awesome.
Yeah, we're
Thank
all
you.
here. Our
Awesome.
fourth guy too. The other guy.
Oh
Sweet.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. Go ahead and go ahead. What are you about to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say that we have ideas for tons of these stories. So what you'll get from the Kickstarter, the 100-page graphic novel, is basically 3 stories, but we have plans beyond that. So we're hopeful to keep making more of these and keep Ace's adventures going for a long time.
So we'll go ahead and put definitely all of that stuff as far as your Kickstarter is concerned. All of that stuff will go in the description below. All of our viewers and listeners can definitely contribute. I know we are, because I'm getting a copy of that.
Oh
It's
yeah,
happening.
that's happening. Yes.
That's
Yes.
Oh
completely
yeah, definitely.
that
All
is
of it.
completely happening.
Yeah.
But
But
we'll go ahead, Josh.
oh yeah, just in closing, what kind of advice would you give aspiring comic book writers and comic book artists trying to put their work out there, and I guess how like maybe the best way that they can go about doing that?
Sure. Yeah, the biggest thing is just to keep making it. Like you'll hear people say the way to get a job in comics is to be making comics, and that's true. You have to just be making them. I would say if you're wanting to work in comics and you have in your bio online aspiring comic artist or comic writer, go ahead and take the aspiring out. Just be what you want to be. And in a more specific sense, I would say as you're coming up, don't commit to something that's super long term. Like if you're a writer and an artist, you need portfolio material, you need stuff online or stuff that you can take to cons and show people, but it doesn't have to be your 100-page, 200-page magnum opus. Like I used to get requests from people like, hey, I want to draw this graphic novel. Would you and I sometimes, I want to draw this graphic novel. Would you be interested? But when you're coming up, don't commit yourself, especially because the pay is probably going to be not so great doing that if there's any pay. So don't tie yourself to something super long term. Just do a 3-page or a 5-page or a 10-page, something like that, no more than 10 or so, and then move on to the next thing, because you need to be doing those pages so you can get, but just don't saddle yourself into something long term. That was a really specific in the weeds thing to get into, but I try to tell all the artists that.
No, people need to know the truth, so we really appreciate that.
Really appreciate so being honest.
Yeah,
it
definitely.
is. So I think that can definitely help a lot of those artists out there trying to get there, because the best way, like I said, to know how the system works, like I said, is to be in it, and you've been there. You've been an artist starting, trying to get to a certain place, so you've been to these places. You give people, of course, it's something that'll be specific to you, but you never know what will work out for other people.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jacob, at the end of the day, man, like we said before, we think your work is awesome. We think you've been doing a great job as far as what you and your colleagues are doing with your Kickstarter. Hopefully we'll be able to chat with some of them too, get their perspectives. But at the end of the day, man, another part of it too is we think I talked to you about that in the email I sent. I think the representation for the superheroes as well was definitely appreciated, man. It's all awesome. So yeah, thank you so much, man. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks.
Because it's just. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, now I'm always for just more minority superheroes. It's just
yeah,
that is like especially like minority superheroes that are especially multifaceted. They just have
that's been really humbling and inspiring to me and Nate both, to seeing the response specifically to that we made a Black superhero or a new Black superhero, and seeing those comments coming in on Instagram that people are really responding to that has been like, I just really appreciate it. That's Nate came up with that because he was inspired by some Sidney Poitier movie that he saw. So that's where the character's look ended up coming from. Yeah, but yeah, that's been really cool to see how people have responded to it.
Hey man, like I said, we think it's great, and of course, we can't wait to see. I can't wait to get my copy when it comes out.
I can't wait to grab my copy.
And we're just excited to see what you got coming in the future, man. We're definitely excited to see where else your career takes you, man, for sure.
Yep, After Alter Ego will be the book that I cannot name from Dark Horse with Brian Bendis, but it should be out. I think I'm allowed to say that it'll be out towards the end of this year. That's probably as much as I can say without getting in trouble.
No, we definitely understand, man. But we're for sure. We've heard that so many times, so we understand, man. But at this point, like I said, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. At this time, man, you should definitely stuff that you can talk about. Let all our viewers and listeners know as far as social media is concerned, Kickstarter, all of that good stuff. Just let them know anything you got going on right now, man.
Yeah, I'm at JCB Edgar. So it's my first name without the vowels, and then last name Edgar on Instagram and Twitter. Those are my main social medias. And then you can find me on Etsy. It's Jacob Edgar Art for prints, sketches, originals, stuff like that. And then the Kickstarter again is Alter Ego. It's, I think, about $20, $22, something like that, for just the basic package to get the book for 100 pages of what I think is going to be a pretty exciting superhero story. So yeah, definitely would love for everybody to check that out.
Awesome. And we
sure
will, man. You definitely heard it here from the man himself, man. So we'll definitely put all of that stuff in the description below. So no worries about that. And yeah, guys, so we're bringing it back. Guess what time it is?
Shameless promotion.
See, we're missing Marcus, man. We're
Yeah,
missing
all right,
that baritone.
do it. I can't do it justice. All right, it's all right. I know.
You did good though, Demetrius. I felt it, bro. I did.
Thank you.
You got the whole Luther Vandross thing going on.
There we go.
It was,
Thank you.
it was hard. It was hard. And yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, all right. All right. You told me. Okay, cool.
But yeah, man, you guys, all of our viewers and listeners out there, of course, you can catch this wonderful podcast and all of our other amazing podcasts on our website. And that website is squareroundtablepod.fandomlim.com. And one more time, guys, that is squareroundtablepod.fandomlim.com. Go ahead, D.
And you can catch us on YouTube every week. And if you like the video, hit the like button, share the video, because that helps a lot. And leave us a comment about anything that we talked about in this video. If you heard of the character before, if what you think of it, if you are gonna contribute to the Kickstarter, or any other stuff we talked about in this video. And also, if you've seen a new Batman movie, we'll talk about that too. We're all into everything today. Speaking of Batman. And hit the notification bell underneath the video on the right side so you get notified of this video and future videos. And follow us on all our social medias. There are Twitter or Instagram and that pesky Facebook group. Bring some life into that group. We are going down, all right? We need to lift it up a bit.
Yes, for sure. Y'all, all of our viewers and listeners, please whiz bang yourselves over to our Facebook group.
or black dog's gonna be with you, right?
Or black dog's gonna get you. Exactly.
There we go.
That's good.
We'll see how we made that work, guys. So we're crazy, man. But I would love everybody, including our wonderful guests for this evening, to introduce themselves before we head out. And of course, I am your host, Chad Singleton.
Dmitri.
Josh Singleton, #yes, #no.
Jacob Edgar.
All right, guys. And this has been the Score Roundtable Podcast. We are out.
Peace.
Peace.